Hey guys, Grant McFadden here from Trends Electronics in Focal. Today we're going to give you 5 different levels of made in France products from Focal. Level 1, Slate Fiber. So to start off, what we consider an audiophile product from Focal is our Slate Fiber product. This is our really entry-level product into what a lot of guys call audiophile, but we feel that some other brands, this is where the flagship starts and ends. So this is an awesome sounding set of speakers. The Slate Fiber cone, obviously it's not made of slate. It's actually made out of a poly material and then carbon fiber flex that give it that unique Slate Fiber look. But that's where the name comes from, is on Slate Fiber. So a couple of unique things about these speakers. Obviously, they're cast basket drivers. Really good power handling on the speakers. You're anywhere from 150 watts to 200 watts is ideal for these speakers. And at the low end, you run about 75 watts. A couple of unique things as well about the component speakers. The passive crossovers that come in the kit can be mounted like this. So old school. So if you're mounting it in the back of the car where the amplifiers are, you've got your one spot location there for the mid-bass driver and your tweeter. If you're doing the tweeter up in the A-pillar of a car and the 6-inch down the door and maybe running it in factory locations and don't want to run a passive crossover inside the door, the crossovers come separately. So you can have the mid-bass crossover mounted in the door or in the kick panel, and the upper high frequency driver for the tweeter up in the dash or down the kick panel as well for those speakers. So kind of an unique way for, very installer friendly, the way you can mount the crossovers separately, or if you're doing it in the back with the amplifier all together. Other thing on the tweeter, it is fairly small to start off with, but the housing is completely removable, so you can get it into smaller stock locations. So simple twist of the back case on here. Top part comes off and the tweeter comes out. Now that is super tiny. That'll fit in most OEM applications, A-pillars, stuff like that, where you need to get that tweeter in there. So tweeter aluminum magnesium tweeter in the Slate Fiber set. Again, awesome sounding set of speakers. Not a lot of money. It gets people into a great audiophile sound for under $600. Level 2, Flax. So the Flax series is our next level up from Slate Fiber. And this is probably one of our highest volume selling SKUs, just based on price point. The sonic performance you get out of these speakers blows away the competition, quite frankly. And that's probably why it's one of the most popular ones, because it gives you a hell of a speaker for a really reasonable price. So some of the key technologies, obviously, on the Flax series is the cone itself. And one of the things they do that's really neat is what they can do because they've got the technology in-house. They build everything in France. They're not relying on another factory to do it. They're doing it all internally. Is they can vary the thickness of this cone on the Flax drivers. So for instance, on the little 3-inch speaker, obviously you can't see that on screen or feel it on screen, but it probably feels, maybe about 2 or 3 millimeters thick. When you go up to the 6-inch mid-bass drivers, obviously thicker. You want these to do lower bass frequencies, mid-bass frequencies. The cone is thicker again. And then when you go to the 8-inch and 10-inch subwoofers, it's solid. It's much thicker. So obviously these are playing low bass frequencies and not worried about accuracy and mid-range and mid-bass detail. This is playing you low bass information. So the different thickness in the cone is really cool, and how they can make these speakers sound different. So super lightweight for accuracy and upper mid-range and vocals and higher frequencies. Damper on the mid-bass driver, so you get that kick drum up front. And then obviously for that sub-bass attack, you've got the maximum thickness on the 8-inch and 10-inch woofers. Both available in a standard depth, which I got the 8-inch standard one here on the table here, and then a shallow mount 8-inch and 10-inch as well. So one of our most popular selling sets of speakers by far. They sound amazing. Again, based on competitors' product, for the dollar, this gives you better performance, in my opinion. Level 3, K2 Evo. So while the Flax might have been probably our most popular unit in unit sales, this category is number 1 by a mile in dollar sales. Obviously, it's a more expensive product. The brand new K2 Evo product, K2 Power Evo product, has just been released. The previous version of it was by far the top dollar selling unit in Canada and in North America, from what I understand. So technology wise, obviously it's got the famous yellow cone using the sandwich Kevlar cone. So you've got layer fiberglass, a layer of Kevlar, and then another layer of fiberglass on the bottom. So it's a super stiff cone. If you grab the back of that speaker, push on anywhere in the cone, the whole speaker moves. It doesn't flex in the middle. There's no issues with cone distortion, anything like that, because that cone is super strong, super lightweight. And the dynamics that you get out of this, the mid-bass attack, that kick drum, especially on the mid-bass drivers, is second to none. On the brand new versions of them, you have the traditional TKM tweeter, which is available in a 4-inch kit, a shallow mount 6.5, which is brand new, which I don't have yet, but we'll have those in about 2 weeks. A brand new shallow kit coming with the TKM tweeter. There'll be a 165 KE, which is our entry-level 6.5-inch coaxial component kit, from the K2 Evo series. A step up called the ES 165 K2, which uses the phase plug instead of a traditional dust cap. And so off-axis response, obviously way better on the K2 versions of them. And then there's 2 flagship series. There's the ES 165 KX2E. So that's featuring the 6-inch mid-bass driver with the aluminum phase plug. And then what they've done to really step it up this year is add in the FRAC tweeter from the K2M series into the lineup. So now you've got a tweeter that plays down as low as 600 hertz if you want it to. But this is also going to take the place of any car where you can't put a 3-inch speaker in there, make a 3-inch mid-range to get that mid-range information. This will play low enough to cover that 3-way application. So that tweeter will be in the K2, K2X, and the K3X sets of speakers. Crossovers have always been updated on those top 2 ones to accommodate the crossover points on the FRAC tweeters. And then the other thing that's on, even on the Flax speakers, we didn't talk about, but on these and every speaker above that is what they've done is really cool. If I can get this on a zoom in and see if I can see this angle. This double ring here on the top is called the TMD. It's a tuned mass damper. And what that does is at high volumes, it keeps that cone from, the surround from flexing, and hence keep the control motion, the motion of the cone under control under high power handling situations. So from Flax all the way up to the Utopia M, that is included as a technology that no one else is using right now. So really helps on high output volume levels. Guys that like to play it at warp 11, it'll keep that sound intact. And then this is the older series. I don't have the brand new ones in stock yet, but the E25KX Evo series will be a black cast basket instead of the champagne gray color. The 12-inch also as well. But the new one we're really excited about is the new E25KX2 shallow. So it is a shallow 10-inch woofer, same cone as this one here. Basically, they've taken the motor structure of this beast and inverted it with a neodymium magnet. So basically, the depth of the speaker is now to this point right here. So all this magnet space has now been moved up into the cone itself. So 3.72 inches of mounting depth on the brand new K2 Evo shallow 10-inch. So guys with pickup trucks, anyone that doesn't want to take up a lot of space in the trunk of the car, going in the quarter panel of a vehicle, that's going to be a big seller for us. So shallow components are brand new this year. The FRAC tweeter in the top 2 sets of speakers and the shallow 10-inch are, I think, the 4 key models in the lineup itself in those 10 brand new SKUs. Level 4, K2M. Getting up near the flagship, we have the reasonably new K2M product. It was shown at SEMA last year in November, and we got the product early first quarter. So basically, it's still relatively new, under a year old. When it first came out, massive success with these because it sounds so much better. Like Kevlar was phenomenal. Kevlar is phenomenal, but this is just a level above, especially with this, the M profile cone on the 6-inch drivers, the 3-inch mid-range, and the 5-inch subwoofer. So off-axis response, when you've got that mid-bass driver way down low by your ankles, where your ears are, gives you tremendous off-axis response. And the mid-bass attack on these is insane. If you look at the back, on a 6.5-inch speaker, we have a 3.5-inch voice coil on that speaker. So that's bigger than most guys have on their flagship subwoofers, and we have it on a 6.5-inch. Amazing mid-bass attack out of these speakers. To complement that, we've got the 3-inch mid-range speaker. Again, it's like man jewelry, a little work of art, but that is phenomenal up in the A-pillar, in the dash of some cars. Amazing mid-range speaker. Still using Utopia M mid-range, the air mid cone. but using the M profile dome on there. And then the flagship piece of this, which really took it a step above, was the Frac tweeter. So this is now incorporated in the Evo series, but this originated in this series here, the K2M. Frac tweeter plays super low, down to 600 hertz where needed. If you don't have room for that 3-inch speaker, that's where this guy's going to come in really handy. So the 6-inch, the Frac tweeter. And then rounding out the lineup, because it's a small lineup of speakers, is this little guy here, which everyone thought was a mid-bass driver. It's not. It's a 5-inch subwoofer. So insane amount of performance you get out of this, despite the size. Again, it's a 5-inch woofer with a 3.5-inch voice coil. So again, tons and tons of output. Guys use these in multiples. I've heard 4 of these in a truck, and it sounded like a pair of 12s. It's unreal. Like little 5-inch drivers, virtually nothing for an enclosure. You're talking 0.25 cubic foot sealed, 0.3 cubic foot vented. I mean, that's insanely small for any kind of a subwoofer enclosure, and the performance is definitely there. So K2M, small lineup of speakers. Again, you step up from your K2 Evo. No passive crossovers in this lineup. It's all a la carte. So those guys that love to do DSP, this is perfect. You're not spending any money for passive crossovers you're not going to use. Everything you're buying is in the technology in the speaker. One of the cool things, again, made in France, all their made in France speakers, maybe I'll grab this one, it's a little easier to see, is all the serial numbers are actually engraved into the rubber on the speaker itself. In Canada, we don't see a lot of fakes, but other parts of the world, they do make a lot of knockoff product. And this product here, you can go on there, check out 3KM, the serial number, check whether if it's valid or not, made in France. The knockoff won't have that engraving on the surround itself. So K2M, one of my favorites. Level 5, Utopia M. So obviously we had to save the best for last, and that is Utopia M. So Utopia M, we have a 8-inch mid-bass driver, super shallow, same depth actually as a 6.5-inch driver. So if you can fit depth-wise the 6.5 and you've got space for an 8-inch, we can make that happen for you. So 8-inch mid-bass drivers, 6-inch drivers with all of the TDM tuned mass damper surrounds on there, 3-inch mid-range speaker, and then our very world-famous beryllium tweeter, which is arguably the best sounding tweeter on the planet. I think one of the unfair advantages Focal has as a car audio manufacturer is their division of home audio products. So a lot of that technology they have on super high-end speakers can trickle down into their car audio lineup. So fantastic sounding speakers. If you haven't heard these, you have to hear them to justify the price of them. They are not inexpensive, but they are amazing, incredible sounding speakers. And then rounding it out, I brought this guy just for showing off the beautiful red magnet on the back of the 10-inch subwoofer. So those guys that like to marry these with high-end amplifiers, looks beautiful with the Moscone amplifiers of the red fans. So super small enclosures, great sounding woofer. The 10-inch subwoofer only available in one size, but the 10-inch subwoofer, I will put that up against most anybody's 10-inch subwoofer they reference as a reference product, whether it's brand X, Y, or Z. It gets down, it's super low, lots and lots of output. But in general, Utopia M, if you want the best of the best, we've got it for you. There's very few players that play in this realm of high-end audiophile speakers, and we're proud to represent it from Focal. Graham McFadden here from Trends Electronics. I just give you 5 of our made in France products from Focal, all the way from Slate Fiber, all the way up to the flagship Utopia M products. For more information, check out focal.com or trendsinc.com.